Once you overcome the 1-inch tall barrier of subtitles, you will be introduced to so many more amazing films, said Parasite director Bong Joon-ho as he claimed the prize for foreign language film. In one perfectly barbed sentence, Bong called out the American movie-going public's perceived aversion to subtitles. Bong effectively stated in English, I think we just use one language, the cinema. So welcome to my channel Beyond Subtitles, and we will look at best of movies and TV series around the world. Kwaidan. Kwaidan in Japanese literally means ghost stories and is a film based on book Kwaidan, Stories and Studies of Strange Things by Lafcadio Heian, published in 1904. Lafcadio Heian was one of the first experts in Japan and has several books about traditional Japanese stories since he dedicated himself to compiling all the stories and legends that he could. Kwaidan's movie consists of 4 separate and unrelated stories based on Japanese folk tales such as the Snow Woman, one of the most famous. It Comes. It Comes is from the same director as Confession, but the film's approach is totally different, and this time the plot revolves more around possessions and exorcism. But the most interesting thing about this movie is that although the first part seems like a normal movie, it ends up being a horror movie in which the director also criticizes some aspects of the Japanese society that end up being the cause of the problems of the protagonists. The story revolves around Hideki and Kana, a newly married couple who are expecting their first child. One day a mysterious woman visits Hideki's company, and shortly afterwards a colleague sends him a message saying that the mysterious woman is called Chiza. This surprises Hideki a lot since Chiza is the name he and Kana have chosen for their baby and which nobody knows about yet. A few days later, the colleague who sent the message to Hideki dies, and this is the beginning of hell for Hideki and Kana, desperately trying to save their daughter. Dark Water. Yosemi Matsubara is a recently divorced woman who moves in with her 5-year-old daughter to a small, dirty and dark old apartment full of mold and a leak that keeps dripping dirty water. Dirty water is in the whole building, not only in the apartment, in the elevator, on the doors of other apartments, in the apartment. There is also water elsewhere. For example, it doesn't stop raining. On the other hand, Yosemi's ex-husband is not willing to easily give her legal custody of his daughter, and to attack her, he uses Yosemi's past, in which she suffered hallucinations and psychiatric treatment. Yosemi will try to be strong and protect her daughter both from her ex-husband and from the strange events that will begin to happen, but little by little her despair and fear increases. The Forest of Love. The Forest of Love is a Netflix original production directed by one of the most famous directors in the world of Japanese horror cinema, Sion Sono. It's a thriller based on or inspired by real events that happened in Kyushu between 1996 and 1998. Futoshi Matsuga is a Japanese murderer who tortured, extorted, and killed 9 people with his accomplice Junko Ogata in what is collectively known as Kitakyushu serial murder incident.
Come join me here.
I Am a Hero. I Am a Hero is based on a manga with the same name that quickly became popular among lovers of the horror genre, and therefore a live-action adaptation was finally made. It's a story about zombies, called ZQN in the movies. Hideo Suzuki is a mangaka who seemed promising but turned into a mediocre mangaka with a miserable life with his girlfriend. One day his girlfriend throws him out of the house for a few hours, later trying to attack Hideo and kill him turned into a zombie. Hideo manages to narrowly escape the attack, and after taking his shotgun he begins to flee the city. And this is where his adventure begins. Will Hideo survive? Rene, Reincarnation. A film director decides to make a movie about what happened 35 years ago in a hotel when a possessed university professor videotaped how he killed 11 people, including his wife and 2 young children, and ended up committing suicide. For the realization of the film, the director decides to go to the hotel where the incident occurred and hire a famous, renowned actress as the protagonist. But suddenly, strange things start to happen, and the leading actress has a horrifying visions that get worse with each passing day. As the God will. Sun Takahata is a high school student who likes violent video games. One day, suddenly, a giant Daruma, a Japanese amulet, appears in his class and the game of death begins. Sun is forced to play the game Daruma Sano Koranda, the Japanese version of the statues game. For those who don't know this game, it's a typical children's game in which a person faces a wall and sings with his back to the group. But from the time to time he turns around. If when that person turn around they see someone moving, that person loses. But in this case the person who loses die. And in a horrible way, the Daruma makes his head explode. From here, Sun will have to play different games if he wants to stay alive.